He spent 2 years knocking on strangers' doors, memorizing scripts, and getting rejected 100 times a day. And it made him a star. Not a preacher, an influencer, a White House guest, a media flashpoint. And he's not the only one. There's a pipeline turning clean-cut Mormon missionaries into some of the most watched right-wing voices online. And almost nobody is asking why. Picture a young man in a white shirt and tie, standing on a stranger's porch. He's been trained for this moment. Trained to smile through a slammed door. Trained to stay calm when someone yells at him. Trained to deliver the same pitch, word for word, to the 1,000th person who doesn't want to hear it. That training has a name. It's called a mission. And for 2 years, it's the full-time, unpaid job of tens of thousands of young Latter-day Saints. Most of them come home, finish college, get married, and disappear into ordinary life. But a small, loud, unmistakable few come home and do something else entirely. They point a camera at themselves, and they become famous. Glenn Beck did it with talk radio and chalkboards, turning conspiracy and prophecy into a cable news empire. The Bundy family did it with rifles and a ranch, turning a grazing fee dispute into an armed standoff broadcast, live to the world. And now a new generation is doing it with a smartphone and a ring light. Nick Shirley, a returned missionary from Farmington, Utah, built a following on pranks before he found his real audience. Investigative-style videos accusing immigrants of welfare fraud. One of those videos, aimed at Somali-run daycare centers in Minnesota, exploded. Reportedly, well over 100 million views on X alone. The vice president praised it as better journalism than a Pulitzer. Shirley was invited into a White House roundtable before he turned 24. Here's the part that gets left out of the highlight reel. State investigators looked into the sites Shirley visited. They didn't find the fraud he alleged, the empty daycare, the missing children, the damning payment records. Compelling on camera, unconfirmed in reality. And it didn't stop him. Shirley went on to promote another creator's video, one that accused a New Jersey Jewish community of orchestrating a welfare invasion. He replied with 2 words, "Expose it all." Even people inside his own political camp flinched. One prominent right-wing commentator called it out directly, warning that the movement had, in her words, a Nazi problem. Then there's Schwemmer, a BYU student, a practicing Latter-day Saint, suddenly the political director of a National College Republicans organization. You'd think that would make him a hero to the online right. Instead, it split it, because part of that same online movement doesn't consider Mormonism real Christianity at all. And now they're arguing about whether their own leadership even counts. A faith built on unity is quietly generating its own culture war inside a movement that claims to be united against everyone else. So why does this keep happening? Why does one religious community, representing less than 2% of the American population, keep producing outsized figures in the internet's most combustible political spaces? Start with the mission itself. It isn't a metaphor. It's literal training. Missionaries memorize structured presentations. They learn to build instant trust with total strangers in under a minute. They learn to absorb rejection, hostility, slam doors, and keep going the next morning with the same energy. Swap the message, and that skill set is identical to what succeeds on YouTube and X. Message discipline, parasocial trust, and the stamina to keep posting through an avalanche of hate in the replies. Nobody trains 20-year-olds for algorithmic combat like a mission does. They just don't call it that. Then add the culture around the mission. Latter-day Saint life is organized, hierarchical, and image-conscious in a way few American institutions still are. Clean living, defined gender roles, unwavering respect for authority within the church structure, and a deep communal identity. All of it maps, almost perfectly, onto the aesthetic the modern online right has been building for a decade. The clean-cut suit and tie look, the confident, unbothered delivery, the certainty that comes from believing you're not just right, but righteous. You don't have to manufacture that persona for the camera. For a lot of these young men, it's just who they already were raised to be. And underneath all of it sits something older and sharper, a genuine, historical distrust of federal power. Mormon settlers were driven out of state after state in the 19th century. Their prophet was murdered by a mob. The U.S. Army marched on their territory. That history isn't ancient trivia inside the church. It's identity. It's told and retold. And when the Bundys stood off against federal agents over cattle grazing rights, they weren't inventing a grievance out of nowhere. They were reaching for a persecution narrative that had been handed down to them for 150 years and updating it for cable news. Today's influencers are doing the same thing, just with different footage. Federal fraud, federal overreach, federal betrayal, wrapped around whatever headline is trending that week. None of this means Mormonism is extremism, and it doesn't mean most Latter-day Saints recognize themselves in any of it. The overwhelming majority never post a political video in their lives, but that's exactly what makes the pattern worth naming instead of ignoring. A closed, disciplined, persuasion-trained institution is going to keep producing people who are extraordinarily good at persuasion, and platforms built to reward confidence over accuracy are going to keep amplifying whichever ones are loudest, not whichever ones are right. Shirley's daycare video didn't need to be true to reshape a news cycle. It just needed to look true for 48 hours, and the missionary-honed delivery made sure it did. That's the real story here, and it's bigger than any one influencer or any one faith. The internet didn't invent persuasion. It just built the biggest stage persuasion has ever had, and it started handing out microphones to whoever already knew how to use one. Mormon missionary culture happened to produce thousands of extremely well-trained public speakers with a shared aesthetic, a shared certainty, and a shared grievance narrative ready to redeploy, and a handful of them found the platform that pays for exactly those skills. Watching that pipeline is a preview of something bigger. Every tight-knit, persuasion-trained community, whatever its beliefs, is one algorithm shift away from producing its own version of this. The question isn't really about one faith at all. It's about what happens when we reward the delivery and stop checking the receipts. If this kind of pattern spotting is useful to you, subscribe, because this won't be the last closed community the algorithm learns to weaponize, and next time, you'll want to see it coming before the headlines do.